Greetings, folks. Nice to see you today. My name is Dustin Cormier, and welcome to How to Rock Astrology. Today's episode, we are going to be learning about Sun in Aquarius with Mars in Virgo. I'm going to give you my little psychological spiel on it, and then eventually I'm going to try to talk about cutesy, sexy bedroom stuff. And finally, at the end, we're going to read about this combination through Erotic Astrology by Phyllis Vega, grounded out with a textual analysis on the bedroom capacities of this particular personality. If you want to know a little bit more about me, feel free to visit dustincormier.net, where you can check out my new book. It's full of psychedelic erotic poetry. And this is a glimpse of my chart, just so you can kind of see the main things of me, the person giving you this info. Just something I think astrologers should do, just so you have a context of, astrology is such a fickle, subjective thing in a way. It's a science, but it's the person giving you the facts and figures has digested them through their own astral persona. So that's why I like to give my main chart figures, I digress. Welcome. Sun in Aquarius, Mars in Virgo. This is a funny sort of combination of both of these are very fickle. It's actually a very mental-centric, erotic sexuality. Very mental, very much like driven by the connections that the two people make as friends, especially as friends in a certain intellectual circle. The Aquarius here, this might even be a person who flirts and kind of is a rock star. Aquarius has its sunglasses on and likes to connect with lots of people. Because of the Mars and Virgo, which generally likes a familiar closeness with somebody. Most times Mars and Virgo can be a very almost like monogamous person, because they like the purity feeling, like they've got a deep loving, like they love to put their Mars aggressive connection to the universe of their own body through familiar channels, through channels that they've deliberated and found through experiment to work best and jive best with their vibe. The Aquarius here is also a fixed sign, so it likes that familiarity too. But Aquarius likes to find familiarity in the world of ideas and people and groups, organizations, etc. And this is the type of person who could be very flirty with all of the people in its group and make that deep, friendly familiarity with all the people in an Aquarian group that this person can find. The planetary lords here get along well together, which is a very good thing for this Mars in Virgo. We've been talking about how, in this series, how Mars in Virgo is close to its debilitation point. Mars is debilitated in Cancer. The closer Mars is to Cancer, the hotter its unconscious is, and it's moved by its internal feelings. It scatters its singular pointed direction, which frustrates the king, the sun. The sun is supposed to be the king, and Mars is supposed to be the thing which can single-pointedly focus on things in reality, on problems in reality, and deal with them, and learn to deal with what the sun wants. Mars is supposed to listen to the sun. Here, the Mars, being in Virgo, can learn what the sun is all about, what Saturn's all about, because Saturn is kind of traditional and ironically, it's Aquarius. They're traditional and conservative in order to break the rules that it sees as being traditional and conservative. That's like the Aquarian thing. They like to know the rules in order that they can break them, and all of these things are conceptions, like This person learns about human conceptions of things. And Mars in Virgo, because it's friends with Mercury, which rules Virgo, is friends with Saturn, which rules Aquarius. So the Mars here can learn to deal with the Sun. And the Sun, the king, being kind of like zany, looking to be zany, it's predictable in its unpredictability, if that makes sense. And the Mars in Virgo does learn to connect with people, to think about how it can express this Aquarian constancy of intrigue with all the people around it. This could be a very like an earthy, mechanical sort of personality, somebody who wants to be reliable to people. In fact, the Mars energy here probably surrenders a lot of its capacity for it to have energy. It doesn't, like Mars in Virgo never learns how to keep itself spinning at the best. It's hard to organize itself. Although Sun in Aquarius does learn, the Sun in Aquarius is quite close to Aries. So at least the Sun here is really close to, it's almost like 2 doors down from its exaltation point in Aries, the Sun. So the Sun learns what keeps it ticking. The Sun in Aquarius learns what keeps it happy, what keeps it cool, what inspires it, and what keeps it inspired. And it involves itself in its life with things that keep it inspired, which usually involves Saturn-y things, like dealing with cars, mechanical equipment, organizing people at a job, delegating authority. This is all things that this person is good at. The only problem is that, like Mars in Virgo, wants to get right into the nitty-gritty, almost even look over your shoulder and tell you exactly what you're doing down to the nth degree, whereas they should be looking at the whole group and not the details. This person looks so much into the details and even surrenders their vital energies to the details of things that they lose their reliability. Usually Aquarius likes to be reliable. And this person wants to be known as being reliable. But the Mars in Virgo being kind of debilitated in a way, it's the mental energy scatters it. So it's trying to think of it overthinks all the responsibilities that Aquarius is trying to hold solid. That's like the psychological sort of element. And even when it comes to relating, this Aquarius person learns its own wonkiness and zaniness, and it learns its own Sun. It learns itself and what keeps it inspired. But when it comes to relating with others, they might hope in a very strong-fisted way that the person, like, they're good at their own feeling themselves out. They even relate to their emotions, like, analytically. They see the patterns in their emotions and they think, oh, I've seen this pattern in myself. It's the funny Aquarius thing, you know? And they might think, like, well, I think that my Mars expresses itself best this way in relationships, which is not exactly Mars's way. Mars should be ready to battle no matter what. This person hopes that partners will abide by certain rules and laws and words that they see in movies, for example, or that they see through culture. And Aquarius sees these movies, these songs, these cultural items, and thinks that it makes sense that most people would work this way in these rigid formations. You know, this person might think, like, it's natural for someone to text you at least within the hour after you text them. And when somebody, like a partner, doesn't text them after an hour, they just get, like, frustrated, like, what are you trying to tell me? What are you trying to say? And they overread and overthink things. You know, and so they might not meet another person at the other person's nature. That's what happens with Mars and Virgo. But the Sun in Aquarius figures out its own jive well enough, especially that the Mars in Virgo, the Mercury in this person learns what to look for. What are the proper formulations for its energy that don't seem as wasteful. I digress, So in relationships, this person can be a bit finicky, a bit critical, a little bit like they like things to be a certain way, and they would like you to be a certain way. But the Saturn, and it's the Aquarius that saves this. It's the airiness that kind of is like, okay, this person is not the way I pictured them to be. Now my Mars in Virgo has to experiment with the nature that this person is giving me. So they think and they deliberate deeply on each thing that they tell you, on each thing that you tell them, rather. They'll think very deeply on it and try to communicate and try to rove around these in a sort of earthy wildness that they're kind of trying to find. They're trying to keep things zany and interesting, and the Aquarius is trying to be open to what you give them, while the Mars in Virgo is deeply trying to read a pattern in your zaniness, because that's what they do in themselves. They can't relate to their own emotions, so they just blurt them out in these black expressions, because that's what Aquarius does. It doesn't deal with its own emotions properly, but those emotions have to come through, and they come out in these Rorschach ink blots, just like you squeeze it for a long time, put all that tension, and then one day they're just like, blah. And after a while, they get used to that so that they don't do it as much, but they learn their own emotional expressions. And the Mars in Virgo tries to read a pattern in it and tries to work its life out based on that pattern. And that's probably what this person is going to do for their partner, for their lover. It's finicky and it's earthy, and you got to move it around. Aquarius is a good place for the sun, and it's the Mars in Virgo here that makes that rigid, hopes for a rhythm, hopes for a pattern. And if you have Earth, if the partner has Earth in their chart, they'll appreciate that. Hopefully, if the partner has Earth and air in their chart, they'll appreciate the rhythm that the Mars in Virgo is ready to try and make all the time, and the finickiness and the fidgety and perfectionism. But you should also appreciate the air in this Aquarian person to read at fact what you put out and say, oh, this is what my Mars has to plan for. This is what I have to break up my expectations and make a new formula to fit your nature. Ah, I see. It's the Aquarius that really saves the rigidness of the Mars in Virgo. But I digress. Everything can be used properly, sensually, and with the proper, with goodness. So let's read about the bedroom shenanigans that can come with this combination and how this Mars and Virgo fidgetiness adds up to a mental fascination and a friendship vibe. That's one vibe that you'll really feel in this person. Is that they're looking to find someone who can be kind of wise and have an intellectual connection that unfolds an earthy sensuality with a little bit of zany Aquarius fun and thinking and weird, possibly kinkiness involved in it. This is Sun in Aquarius, Mars in Virgo. Outwardly, you tend to appear cool and disinterested in intimacy. But on the inside, you're very much in need of love and affection, and sensual affection. Because you believe the heart should rule the head, you're more comfortable analyzing and categorizing your feelings than experiencing them. Emotionally, you fear too much intimacy, but physically, you're open to just about anything that brings pleasure to both parties. Aquarius likes to have its space, its individuality, not being too sucked into even monogamy or one person's desire of how they ought to be, even though they kind of do that to the other person. It's a weird, funny sort of like they like to be the person kind of doing that, and they hope that the other person gives them the space to not be put in a hole. Behind closed doors, you're warm, witty, and extremely sexy. And you have a free, uninhibited approach to lovemaking that leads to hours of fun, flirtation, and variety. However, you require an intellectual connection along with the physical one. When your mind is turned on, your body will soon follow. And the body will enjoy it too, because Mars in Virgo adds a zappy, tense, it's like a car that's idling and it just can't wait when it's finally leaves the parking zone and just vroom, turns into full blast because it's been idling and building for so long. The body is super energized, sensitive, and the Saturn in the Sun in Aquarius finds all the funny little ways after it's learned the physical imprint of both partners' natural, vigorous lovemaking. It's the Sun in Aquarius that's sitting on top of it all and saying, we haven't tried this way to express this groove that we've found yet. There's a groove between the two people, and they develop a warm, earthy groove through the Mars in Virgo. It's a rhythm, it's a familiarity. And the Sun in Aquarius is always on top of it saying, we haven't tried it this way yet. So folks, I'm Dustin Cormier. This has been How to Rock Astrology. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments or what have you if this tickled your fancy. I would always love to know. I'm Dustin Cormier for How to Rock Astrology, like I said. I'm such a robot sometimes. I think I said that twice. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys on the flip. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.